Here in a cool day in Montreal, the Montreal Royal look to move to 3-2 here against the East Division's bottom team, the Philadelphia Phoenix. Big game for both teams. Philly looking for a win. Montreal looking to get themselves into a good position to get into that playoff hunt in the East Division. It's all coming up here next on AUDL Extra. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Montreal, Quebec. We're here at the Claude Robillard Stadium right here in Montreal, just outside of downtown. I'm Charlie Eisenhood, joined by Allison Fisher, the head coach of the women's team here in Quebec, Iris. And we've got a great game on our hands here. Two teams looking to put themselves into a solid position and try to get back into the playoff race with those big dogs here in the East, Toronto, DC, and New York.
I agree. I think, with Montreal, they're 1-1 with Toronto right now since they lost last week. So they really want to win this game, get back into the playoff race.
Well, thanks, everybody, for joining us here today. It's a cool, drizzly day in Montreal, but we got a game here between two teams that played a fantastic game to start the year in Philadelphia. Philadelphia's home opener. And Philadelphia ended up losing that game 24-23 in double overtime. A great win for Montreal on the road.
Yeah, it was great. I think it was great for Montreal. They played a lot of their younger rookie players in that game. And then to be able to finish out that win, even though it was a super long double overtime and the actual final point was very long also, I think it was great for them to be able to come out of that with a win.
Absolutely. And really, Montreal, sitting at 2-2, with a win today, obviously moves to a winning record, and would put themselves in a position to be able to, if they can get some wins over those other teams, of course 1-1 against Toronto already, as you mentioned, they could theoretically make it into the playoffs, which, with the championship weekend taking place here in Montreal in late August, would be very exciting for the hometown fans.
I think that would be incredible.
We're getting ready to get started here. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. And we're going to have starting lineups in just a moment. So as the public address announcer gets ready to introduce these two teams, we will send it fieldside in just a moment. Before we do, let's talk a little bit about this matchup. Obviously the close game, but you mentioned Montreal playing their rookies. What do you think they're going to be looking to do today? Are they going to look to try to get ahead early? Are they going to still look to develop their depth? Do you have any sense on how they approach this game?
Well, I talked to the coach, Caro Cadot, who's coaching today, and she said they're really been working hard on their offensive structure. So they're going to look hard to see if they can get their flow going early and play really tight on defense.
And for this Philadelphia team, they played yesterday at Ottawa, and they lost that game. Final score there, 25-21. That's their second straight loss to Ottawa. And now they have to play here on the second game of a back-to-back. Always a difficult thing to do. And they have to play a team that already knows them a little bit. Could this be the day that they get in the win column?
It's always possible. You can never write off any team until the game is over, right? So let's hope that they give it their best shot, and it looks good out there.
All right, we're going to get some introductions of the younger fans here in today's stadium. And going to see the players introduced as well. So we're going to send it over to the public address announcer. You may hear a little French. Enjoy. We're going to get English and French announcements here in Montreal, as is customary. And we have the introductions here now as we see the Philadelphia Phoenix coming on.
Number 2, Ken Wells. Number 6, Doug Roman. Number 8, Steve Rosso. Number 10, Matt Hesser. Number 11, Scotty Xu. Number 16, Charlie Cannon. Number 17, Steve Ng. Number 23, Mike Arcata. Number 25, Trey Kastenbach. Number 28, Oak Nelson. Number 31, Paul Klimkowski. Number 34, Colin Koshnash. Number 36, Nikki Spiva. Number 42, William Honey. Number 77, Ryan Brown. Number 81, Sean Mott. Number 82, Marquise Brownlee. Number 93, Dustin Sullivan. Number 99, Eric Nardelli. And number 4, Greg Martin. Et maintenant, pour accueillir votre Royal, joignez votre énergie à celle de la zone M. Votre zone déchaînée, inspirée des meilleurs. Ils enchaînent chants, cris et encouragements. que ceux qui aiment le Royal les suivent. And now, please rise and give it up for your players and coaches. Public, lève-toi et montre ton amour pour ton équipe, le Royal de Montréal. Le numéro 7, Steve Bono. Le numéro 8, Mike Volpel. Le numéro 9, number 9, Maxwell Rick. Le numéro 12, number 12, Philippe Thibierge. Le numéro 13, number 13, André Arsenault. Le numéro 14, number 14, Joseph Genet. Le numéro 17, number 17, Antoine Genet. Le numéro 18, number 18, David Ferraro. Le numéro 20, number 20, Nathan Dandurand. Le numéro 21, number 21, Gabriel Monfette. Le numéro 22, number 22, Christophe Jonca Tremblay. Le numéro 27, number 27, Miguel Godin. Le numéro 44, number 44, Quentin Bonneau. Le numéro 49, number 49, Félix Antoine Daigle. Le numéro 52, number 52, Mauricio Martinez. Le numéro 71, number 71, Malik Auger Sama. Le numéro 80, number 80, passe à Kevin Grou. Le numéro 81, number 81, KQ, Kevin Quinlan. Le numéro 86, number 86, Jean-Philippe Riopel. Et le numéro 95, number 85, Francis Vallée. L'équipe d'entraîneurs pour le match de cet après-midi, Christian Mathieu et Caroline Cadotte. Mesdames et messieurs, le Royal de Montréal. Les arbitres pour le match de cet après-midi. Benoît Godin, Alexandre Besnard, Jacques Quentin, Jean-François Fortin, Sheila Quintos et Dominique Saint-Jacques. Accompagnés des infatigables coureurs de disque pour le match, Jérémy Héroux et Vilane Lacombe. Nous invitons maintenant les capitaines des deux équipes à rejoindre les arbitres au centre du terrain pour le tirage au sort.
All right, see the starting lineups taking the field here. Referees getting introduced as well. We're going to do the coin toss in just a moment. To get back to this matchup a little bit before we hear the national anthem here. You look at the teams on the field today, and that's always something to look at when you're looking at any AUDL matchup, because it's not just the 28-man roster, but rather who are the 20 here at the stadium today. And some notable names missing for both teams, and but also some of the big stars. So I think if we start with the Montreal Royal, Steve Bono, who has 12 assists to lead the team, he'll be out there today. Really important offensive contributor for them, and someone that a lot of people are going to look to as a real playmaker for them on offense.
Definitely, and he's an import from France. So it's very interesting to see how his style starts to gel with the way that we play more in North America. And also I think Antoine Genet is another one who we're going to really look at today. He has some huge throws, so if he's able to have those float nicely today, we're going to be looking at some exciting ultimate, I think.
Yeah, Genet leads the team in completion, so also getting a lot of touches out there on offense. Some of the folks missing for Montreal today, I think most notably Nasser Mbevogel, who has been an important player for them on offense and defense, and he is not out there today. Also, Ben Katz out, as well as many of the Montreal's Boston players. Ben Katz, one of those, but others like Christian Foster, and some of those other folks that they brought over from Boston not playing today. So. Though against this Philadelphia team, a little bit an underpowered team, maybe you don't need those extra players.
Right, and I believe they have a deal with those Boston players that they don't necessarily come to all the games. I believe it's 7 or 8 that their arrangement is, so obviously we wouldn't see them necessarily at a game that technically should be easier for Montreal than, say, against the Rush or DC.
Philadelphia, also some key players here today. Of course, Sean Mott, he leads the team in assists and goals with 17 and 16 respectively, so he'll be a big contributor. A lot of people know the name Marquez Brownlee, MKBHD on YouTube, if you're familiar with the tech YouTube superstar at this point, and he's a big playmaker for them. He's got 7 blocks. That's tied for the lead on the team. But they are also missing some players today. Quinn Hunziker, Ryan Flamberg, Ryan Forster, and Andrew Manganelli had some trouble getting into the country, got turned away at the border, so they will not be here today. But Philly's still a strong lineup. They've got most of their key players out there, and I think you'll look to Nicky Spiva as well, a big name, big addition to this team. Hasn't necessarily had that monster game yet, but you cannot count him out. He just got added to the Team USA for the World Games as we get set for to start this one. It'll be Montreal in the blue, pulling. And should have a great matchup today. Hope everybody is enjoying their Sunday afternoon.
And happy Mother's Day to
and
all
happy
the
Mother's Day,
mothers out there who are watching.
Of course. And we are underway here in Montreal. And in Philadelphia, we'll start things out on offense. High swing is nicely handled there by Spiva. Spiva comes back, and his throw is taken away by the Royal. That was David Ferraro on the interception. So Royal with a good opportunity to get an early break here against the Phoenix. Pass underneath to Ferraro. Sharp swing up ahead into the hands of Nathan Dandurand. Again, Ferraro dishes it off. And a throw to the end zone. Double layout on the back line, and it's incomplete. So a good chance for the Royal missed there as Steve Bonneau's throw goes a little too far. And Philadelphia will take over on the goal line. And immediately they turn it over on a swing pass. So the Royal with a chance to get the quick break, and they do so. Into the end zone they go. Montreal catches things, gets things started with a break, and it's Maxwell Rick with the opening goal for Montreal.
Well, that was really exciting. So basically we had Nate Dandurand who picked it up, and it was a dangerous catch. He almost dropped it in the end zone, but in the end, it was successful. That was great. They had a second try at scoring in the end zone.
So a little bit of a rough offensive start for Philadelphia there. Never really get it past the brick mark. And so it's been a tough slog for this Philadelphia team over the past few years. In the opening year of the AUDL, Philadelphia's team was the Spinners, which, of course, if you follow Professional Ultimate, you may know that team eventually left the AUDL to join the Major League Ultimate, now defunct league. But that year, the Spinners, the Philadelphia team, went 13-2, won the AUDL championship, and every year since then, it's gotten worse. 9-7 in 2013, 2-12 the next year, 1-13, and then 0-14 last season. They have definitely upgraded the roster this year, but they have a lot of work to do. They're in an 0-4 hole to start this season, as we see Brownlee catch on underneath, and now he puts up a huck down the field, and it tips off the hands of his receiver. That's Sean Mott. So another Philadelphia turnover, and Montreal will take over near their own defending end zone. Montreal swings to the far side. And a bobbled under, but Malik Ojesama handles the pass. Philippe Tivierge with it here. Dumps it back. A little give and go action from the Royal. Christophe Tremblay-Joncas swings it off the line. This is Antoine Genet. Tivierge. Find some space underneath. Jean-Philippe Villepel looking to the sideline, and it's caught out on the far edge. Now they have to try to work it off the line. No mark right now. Methodical work so far from the Royal on this possession. Little strike cut from Miguel Godet. He gets it to the middle. No mark. Can't find anybody yet, so he has to reset. Nice job by the downfield defense, and then they force the turnover. The Phoenix bending but not breaking, and they get the disc back. Brownlee. And a turnover, low throw there, and it's another easy score for Montreal.
Oh, and here we go. That was a great score. It seems like maybe it's a little wet out there. They seem to be dropping the discs pretty regularly. So you can see their turnover. It looked like he caught it, but in the end he dropped it. Quick turnover. Tivierge picks it up and scores to number 22, Christophe Tremblay-Joncas. Easy score for Montreal Royal.
Yeah, that's two straight possessions where Philadelphia's gotten the disc back and then turned it over on one throw.
Right,
and you can't do that in the AUDL.
You just can't take those chances. I mean,
so a quick 2-0 lead for Montreal, 2 early breaks. And the hometown crowd loving it. This is the franchise with the largest average attendance last season. And really a great crowd. I think a great place for the AUDL Championship later in the summer. Big swing here from the Phoenix. Looking to get on the board here in the first quarter. Swing out to the sideline. Trey Katzenbach there on the catching the sideline pass. Now comes to Ken Wells. Double team here from the Royal, but he finds Katzenbach, gets rid of it. Katzenbach thinks about the hammer, looks it off. Now disc on the sideline with Scott Shue. Double team there from the Royal, forcing a high stall pass, but they managed to get rid of it, and it's Shue on the far side. Now he's looking with a little blade to the end zone, tips, but it gets into the hands of a secondary receiver. That's Wells, and Philadelphia gets on the board. So still some dangerous passes there, Allison, but they do get it into the end zone.
Yes, finally they managed to score. I like that IO flick that came around, and even though there was only one receiver who missed it, but there was a second. It's always good to have a second cutter in the back to help out in case something goes wrong.
You never know. So Philadelphia will get their defense on the field for the first time this game. And with some of the players missing, they're down to a smaller than usual roster because of the folks that were turned away at the border. So we'll see if fatigue plays a role. Of course, they're also playing in the second game of a back-to-back after playing at Ottawa yesterday.
Plus, there's got to be some mental toughness there when some of your players who you're counting on can't make it across the border to show up at your games. There's definitely, on the coaching side, the adjustments, but also the players have to, compensate for the fact that those big role players aren't there.
Royal offense out there for the first time as well. Andre Arsenault catches the under. Whistle, and a foul goes against the Phoenix, so 10-yard penalty. Nice motion here from the Royal. Antoine Genet. He swings around to near the front cone. Miguel Godet with it. Dropped off to Antoine Genet. Now he looks to the end zone, and Montreal puts it in. And it's 3-1 Royal. That was Mike Vopel on the score.
I think that was actually Felix Antoine Deg who scored, number 49, one of the captains of the Royal this year. Yeah, it looks really nice. Look at his throws, an excellent I.O. Right around, big fake I.O. Easy pass for him. And the Royal take the lead, 3-1.
And a notable thing about these two teams, they both have a female head coach.
They do both have a female head coach.
Which is, that's the only two teams in the league that have a female head coaches. And a really notable thing, I think both teams really proud of the fact that they have put a female in the head coaching position, which of course in professional sports generally is quite rare for men's sports. And it's still rare in the AUDL as well.
Right, in Montreal, in fact, the head coach, Guylaine Girard, is actually out with a concussion. So the assistant head coach who's taken over, Caro Cadot, is also a woman. And they both have great vision. I've played with both of them, luckily. And they have great vision, excellent understanding of the game.
Big looping forehand into double coverage. And a great box out and a great catch on the far side as Philadelphia hauls in the score. I believe that was Mike Arcata. Now, excuse me, that was Dustin Sullivan with the score there for Philadelphia.
That was an excellent box out with that double coverage. It's pretty tough to make those grabs sometimes. But he was cool and calm.
And an excellent play over the top. Sullivan making a nice catch. But again, Philadelphia putting themselves in some risky situations so far in this one. But 2 straight holds.
Yep, they're only behind by 1.
Getting set to pull here. See that Royal offensive line that smoothly held last point. And a whistle on the pull. And we have an offsides, I believe, against the Phoenix. So that will give excellent field position to the Royal.
À la mi-terrain.
And the disc checked into play here for Montreal. Antoine Genet. Genet again. A dangerous pass there, but it's caught by Andre Arsenault. Back to Genet. He's got a wide open man at the back of the end zone, and it's an easy score for the Royal.
Number 8, that's Mike Vopel. I believe that he is a Vermont import. He has played and I believe now is maybe coaching at University of Vermont. So he travels up during the week for practice. Great pass across, using the break sideline, and easy score for Montreal.
Yeah, defender just lost track of Vopel there. And not a lot of resistance so far from the Phoenix. And you look at this Montreal team. They opened their season at Philadelphia. They won in double overtime, as we mentioned. They had to play a back-to-back. They played against the Empire, and they lost 21-8.
I'm pretty sure that was their worst game of the franchise.
And that may be true. 8 points, not very many in the AUDL. And so, they have some questions to answer. I mean, early in the season, second game of back-to-back, understandable as we see the Phoenix looking to a one-on-one situation down the field. Nice throw to the back line if it stays in, and it sure does. What a grab there at the back of the end zone from Dustin Sullivan.
That was a great read. He really just ran it out, had utter faith that disc was going to come right in front of him, making it very difficult for the Montreal defender, Jean-Philippe Riopel, to make a play on that disc.
See this perfectly balanced throw.
Right out in front. That's exactly what you want, so the defender has no chance.
So nice game to start here. And it's been raining, and I think it may be drizzling a little bit right now, but It's not raining hard. It's not terrible out there.
I would not say that the weather should be affecting their throws or catches at this point.
Right. Just under 6 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Janae dishes it off. Comes around to Godet. Janae, dangerous pass and a big layout from Philadelphia, but they can't quite get a hand on it. Now there's a little 2-on-1 on the sideline, and they gain some yards. Arsenault with it, looking for the reset, and dumps it off to Antoine Janae. He looks for the wide swing, and a nice vision from Janae there. It's Vopel. Quick motion here from the Royal. Godet dishes it off. Now he's looking for the strike, but not quite into the end zone. And he dishes it in.
Easy score to Kevin Quinlan.
KQ.
Yeah, KQ.
As I heard them announced in French over the intercom to start the game.
That was nice motion by the Montreal team. You could see how it was just dump swing, give and go. Here we go. Miguel catches it right on the end zone, and Kevin is wide open for that pass. I think that maybe the Phoenix lost track of him because he was pretty open on the front line there.
Yeah, we've seen Philadelphia switching a little bit downfield, and at some times that's causing them to just forget about someone, and he just snuck right along that front line and got into the end zone. So nothing but clean offense so far from Montreal. Their D-line has 2 turnovers, but immediately turned them both into breaks as Philadelphia gave it back. The offense, no turnovers yet. Paul Klimkowski will get things started for the Philadelphia offense at the brick mark here. So nice to see a field lined specifically for Ultimate. And it's grass field here. This is where they will play the championship weekend. As the shot goes to the end zone, it's tipped. And a second effort layout's not enough. Good defense from the Royal, and they'll get another break chance.
I believe that D came from Antoine Genet's brother, Joseph.
And a pass underneath goes in and out of the hands of Ferraro. So Philly takes over. Wide under. A shot to the end zone. And a score for Philadelphia. They get their 3rd straight hold. And that's William Hone with the score there, the big 6'4" cutter.
He's very imposing on the field. I'm sure it's a tough matchup if you end up drawing him in the across the line. It was a nice little give-go to... That was a narrow window that they threw into down that line, but it worked.
Yeah, there was a handler cutting into the same space, and the thrower just threw it around the striking handler and found the end zone. So 5-4. Royal in front here. Big pull lands just inside the end zone. Daigle takes the centering pass, dishes it off to Antoine Genet. Godet. Big gainer there, and a whistle. And it's going to be a travel, I believe, called on the throw. So that will send Montreal back 10 yards. And now a great opportunity for the Phoenix to set their defense, try to get a takeaway. Oh, and a nice catch on the far side there from Vopel. patience again from Montreal. Janae fakes the hammer. Now a double team and a delayed foul call shown by the referee, but then not given, as they gave advantage there. And a big swing to the end zone. Finds pay dirt, and it's Janae with the goal for the Royal. So what are you seeing from the Montreal offense so far? It's looking pretty clean out there.
It's looking very clean. They're dumping and swinging well. They're not being intimidated when that double team sets up. They're just calmly throwing it, swinging to their side. And most of their scores, if you notice, have been on the close sideline here, which seems to be the break side. And it's nice to see Janae scoring when he's usually the one throwing it.
That's right. So under 3 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Sizable crowd on hand here today. And a big pull. This one will stay in bounds for the Royal. It'll be Katzenbach to pick up for Philadelphia. Kind of a junk look there from Montreal to start the possession. As Philadelphia swings it over to Hone, and he's looking deep right away. And it's caught with the left hand in the end zone for the Philadelphia score. A nice shot there for the Phoenix.
Sean Mott for the score.
Mott, a big playmaker for them. Scores a lot and also gets a lot of assists near the goal as he catches hucks like that one. So we take another look.
Yeah, well, it's too bad on the replay we can't see where he sets up his cut, because it was a beautiful setup in order to get that distance from his defender to be open in the end zone like that.
(6-5) Montreal. Time ticking away here in the first quarter.
Looks like Philly's getting their legs a little bit in their offense, being able to get a few scores without any turnovers.
Right, a couple clunky early points, but since then opened up the deep space, and it's been effective for them. But the Royal still perfect on offense. And a whistle.
Pick.
And
back 10.
10-yard penalty for the pick. The referees are wired for sound here in Montreal, so we will try to get them in the broadcast as we are able.
Unfortunate turnover there by Arsenault.
Philadelphia with their first break chance. Disc near side with Scott Shue. He looks to the break side with a hammer, and Philadelphia ties this game. Goal drops into the hands of Ryan Brown.
That was excellent vision to see, that in front of him nothing was happening, but on the far side there was lots of space. Puts up a hammer. I think that was a pretty easy catch.
See it again. Let's see what Shue saw here.
You can see he's wide open there. I mean, it happened to be there was another pair of defender-offenders right in front, but number 71 was wide open in the backfield.
So we're getting to the end of the first quarter here, where time management becomes extra important. Big soaring pull. It's going to trail towards the near sideline, and it will go just out of bounds over the pylon. So Montreal will bring it to the brick mark. And it will be Antoine Janae to start things off for the Royal. Dish back to Daigle. And a big shot to the end zone is going to hang up into coverage, and it's a big goal. Mike Vopel goes over the top of Marquez Brownlee and makes the catch.
I like that Vopel-Brownlee matchup. That could be pretty exciting later on in the game if there's some big, deep shots with the two of them going up for it. That was a great catch. You can see he just reads it perfectly, jumps exactly at the time where he's going to get his highest. And is able to pull it down over Brownlee.
And Brownlee is no slouch in the air. It could be an exciting matchup, as you mentioned. I think just a difficult position for him to be in there. Had no opportunity to get any momentum up to the disc.
That's right.
Almost very flat-footed. And since he was already behind in position, no chance to make the play over Lopel. Exciting game so far here in Montreal. Two breaks to start this game from the Royal. No breaks yet. Oh, excuse me, one break now for the Phoenix as they got on the board with their D-line with the shoe hammer. Oh, and a big D on the far side, and Philadelphia does a great job to make the catch and keep possession. Attacking now. Montreal defenders playing catch-up as the disc swings to the far side. And as a sliding goal there from William Hone. And Philly scores quickly, 7-7, with under a minute to go.
He seems to be their go-to guy in the end zone. Actually, he was the go-to guy all over the field in that point. A lot of catching and throwing for him before he cut to the end zone. I bet he was glad that it's grass out there and not turf.
Yeah, it's such a luxury to watch a game on a grass field that's not lined for football. And I think one of the interesting things here in Montreal, I was talking to some of the ownership before the game, because they don't play American football here, of course.
None of our fields are long enough.
None of the fields are long enough to accommodate the full-size AUDL field. So they're actually, this field is maybe 5 to 10 yards too short. The width is correct, but it's a little bit short. And they're going to have to, I don't know that they're going to have a fix for the championship weekend. They may just have to play with a slightly short field. A dangerous pass there, but it handled nicely by Daigle. Janae looking to the swing, but looks it off. Now has a mark. Dishes back to Daigle. And Daigle's inside forehand misses the target. He was looking for Quentin Bonneau. And now Philadelphia, with less than 20 seconds to go in the quarter, has a chance to go ahead. Home crowd chanting for defense. Time running down here. And it's intercepted on the short hammer to the end zone, and the big huck will go up. It will have no chance to be completed, of course, as two Phoenix players are the only ones down there, and that brings us to the end of the first quarter, and we are all tied up at 7.
No buzzer beater for the first quarter end. I was exciting about that.
Yeah, the Phoenix maybe not quite prepared for the opportunity, and they couldn't get a throw into the end zone. And a good job defensively by Montreal. So despite Montreal's 2 opening breaks, this game is all tied up.
I wonder if it's difficult to be to play heads up and keep an eye on what the clock is saying, how many seconds you have left, while you're trying to concentrate on completing your passes or running whatever play is set. Must be tough to also realize, we only have 3 seconds left to make a pass, or at what point do we take the long shot?
We'll be right back. Thanks so much. You're watching the AUDL Extra presented by UltiWorld.
So this piece with Eric is amazing to me. It's right in line with what we think is critical for kids, and that is to know their bodies.
The kids have really gotten into having speakers here that aren't just their teachers.
And I think the clinicians did a fantastic job. All the kids were engaged. None of them were distracted. They
seem to get into it right away.
I just want to reach out to Eric and tell him, you know, thank you for coming and sharing the message that our kids can speak up. Early recognition is critical, and I look forward to doing more things with Eric in the future.
It's been great for us as a staff and for our students to experience the message. It's been great for us as a staff and for our students to experience the message you guys have, and highly recommend it for any school that has the opportunity.
Welcome back to the Claude Robillard Stadium in Montreal, where Philadelphia and the Montreal Royal, the home team here, tied up at 7 at the end of the first quarter. We're getting set to begin the second quarter. It will be Philadelphia pulling to Montreal to get things underway. Good even first quarter as this pull goes out the back. Some impressive power on that throw, and it will be brought to the brick mark by the Royal. So a split stack look here from Montreal, and they get a quick action on that right side as the disc gets up ahead to Kevin Quinlan. He looks to the end zone right away, and they've got a score with Mike Vopel.
That was a great set play. Clearly they were they called that off the start, running that split stack, using the 2 isolated cutters on the far side. Makes it look easy when it flows that well. And here we go. See, open side to Quinlan. Once again, he just puts it up into space. Vopel pulls it down.
And that is picture-perfect offense. Really like that look. You don't see a lot of side stack in the AUDL, or split stack in that case.
And I think Montreal runs both, what they just did where they ran it on the side, and also sometimes they run it through the middle.
Very interesting. So a couple of different looks. We'll see if we get another look at that same scheme later this game. Good pull from the Royal. Drops down and gets centered to Klimkowski. Katzenbach dishes it off. Now gets it back. Kind of a loose matchup zone here from the Royal. And now they transition into more traditional man defense as Philadelphia works on the far sideline. And nearly a nice grab by Katzenbach, but he can't haul it in, so it'll be Royal disc.
Looks like Nate Danduran got that defensive bid.
If nothing else, put enough pressure there to force the drop from Katzenbach. Bobbled but caught in the midfield. And a nice break to the far side from Bonneau. Joseph Genet looking to the end zone, and it's dropped on the layout.
That was a good bid by Kev Grew, but just out of his reach, I guess.
Philadelphia offense back to work. Katzenbach to the sideline. Sean Mott swings it back. Spiva. Whistle.
And Philadelphia back 10.
So there's a pick called against Philadelphia there.
Stall coming 4.
And the stall will be 4, as you hear from the head referee. And another whistle as the pass is caught.
Reception back half the distance to the goal from the point of the reception.
So another pick called, and it will be half the distance to the back line. And now a very dangerous spot for Philadelphia, and you can hear the Montreal crowd getting excited. It's tipped, nearly caught for a Callahan, but just missed. So Royal will pick it up and put it into play on their own goal line.
That's Maxwell Rick picking up the disc on the end zone line.
Rick with a little break backhand into the hands of Kevin Brule, and it's a score for Montreal.
Well, Philly was really in a tough spot there, right in the back corner of their own end zone. It's tough to get out of there in the best of times, plus with the pressure of knowing you only have a few seconds to get your pass off. Looks like Montreal capitalized on their excellent defense here. An easy pass around, little break, ISO play. Kev Grew scores.
And the 2 picks really costing Philadelphia there, as they were forced to work from nearly the very back of their own end zone. And the crowd surely wanted the Callahan there.
They were calling for it.
Here's the pull from the Royal. Another strong pull. Good defense downfield from the Royal. And now they find some room and an open cutter. And a whistle.
Contact before the throw. Thrower advances 10 yards.
Contact on the throw.
Greg Martin with the disc. Now back to Spiva. Spiva takes the reset, chases back. Nice defense on him.
Faute vierge. A little too aggressive, I guess.
Gets the 10-yard penalty, a little bump on the mark. Spiva looking deep into coverage, but it's caught. And a great play. Scott Shue hauls it in. And a little frustrated with the referee after the contact there on the catch. And a great throw there from Nick Spiva.
I think the D was the newcomer from Colombia and Montreal, Mauricio Martinez. And maybe he just doesn't quite know how much contact you're allowed yet.
Well, the Colombians play a physical brand of ultimate.
They do play a physical brand of ultimate.
And you could see he was pretty close to catching up to that disc. He made up 5 or 6 yards, but then definitely backpacked Zhu.
A little backpacking.
Could have been called for some kind of flagrant foul, potentially, on that kind of play. It's always a borderline case, but you really don't want to see players getting bids through their back like that. And you can understand why Zhu is frustrated.
100%. And I think also for the Colombian player, maybe he hasn't played that often with refs either. It's not that common in Colombia or in even international play that we have referees that call everything that happens on the field.
Right. I mean, this is Mauricio Martinez's first game with the Royal. So a little bit of a learning experience for him, perhaps.
Here we see that split stack again.
So let's see if they run that same motion. They do, but they go to the reset option, turn off that look to the right third of the field. Now they go deep. 2 defenders in the area, tipped and caught for the goal.
And once again, it's Mike Vopel with the score. That man is everywhere.
And he's smiling, saying, I don't know how I keep coming up with these discs.
I keep coming down with those Frisbees. I don't know. He was in the right place at the right time for that one. This is why, as we said before, it's always good to have a continuation cutter behind the initial target to be able to catch those bobbling discs.
That's got to be frustrating for Philadelphia. Played great defense there.
It was great defense.
Didn't have anybody else from their team following the play, so.
It was actually an interesting choice for Montreal. I thought there wasn't really clearly an open cutter going downfield, and yet they put the disc up anyway.
Certainly the little breaks have gone Montreal's way so far in this game. Pull drops down middle of the end zone. There's William Hone again, who's been a really effective downfield for the Phoenix. Oh, and a nice cut there from Sullivan.
We have Nate Danderand bidding everywhere for the D.
Oh, nearly taken away by Montreal. And a whistle.
Called against Philadelphia, 10 yards back from the point of the catch.
Oh, and a pick call against Philadelphia. And it's going to be a 10-yard penalty against the Phoenix.
Affected the play. Back to thrower, then 10 yards back.
Looks like the receiver was looking for an integrity rule call there on the contact.
Well, he's frustrated about the contact, but the pick happened first, so they're going to send it back 10 yards. He can't believe it, but the referees stand by their call there. Now, the Phoenix getting stuck a bit on their sideline. Spiva gets rid of it. Again, Spiva. Touching the disc a lot in the backfield for the Phoenix. Finds Sullivan. Hone. Nice dish, but no continuation cut there for the Phoenix.
Montreal's playing pretty good defense right now, taking away their downfield options.
Now, an end zone look, and it's knocked away. Great defense there from Ferraro. And
potential injury on the play.
Phoenix player clearly getting the worst of the contact between those two. And hope he didn't come down wrong on his leg.
It's hard to say. It doesn't particularly look like it's a knee injury. Well, he's sitting up, so and he's getting up.
So he'll get up under his own power. Sean Mott.
You never like to see those players injured on the field.
Well, they certainly don't want Sean Mott to get hurt. As mentioned at the start of the broadcast, leading the team in assists and goals. And it looks like he's going to may stay on the field here. And there's going to be a referee review.
The call on the field is passer interference. It's Philadelphia's disc at the center of the goal line.
So Philadelphia will take over right on the goal line after the interference call. And I don't think there was initially a foul call. I think they huddled up to and changed the call.
I agree.
And I don't know if that was because of the injury or if because one of the other referees saw something that the trail ref didn't. Either way, it works out for Philadelphia, and they will punch in a quick, easy score.
Easy score by William. Keeps being all over that field. And that was interesting, actually, because in the replay, I don't know if we're going to see it, but clearly either the defender wasn't set up on the right side, or, I mean, it looked like it's such an easy open side cut for him. Maybe the defender just was one nice fake, wide open.
Yeah, just really not very good defense in that situation.
I would not say that was the best defense I've ever seen.
He got lulled to sleep by Hone walking back in the stack, and then a little fake to the break side opened up lots of space on that open side.
It could also have been a mental issue there. You know, Montreal probably thought they had just gotten that huge turnover, and then all of a sudden it's back to Philly.
And the short field giving both teams some trouble as they're throwing pulls out the back. So that's a bit of an adjustment with 6 minutes to go here in the second quarter. 10-9 Montreal. Balanced second quarter. And really, it's been a very close game since those two initial breaks by Montreal. Looked like they might get a big lead, but it has not been the case. Daigle dumps it off to Antoine Genet. Daigle hits Arsenault. Quinlan up the line. Big bid there as Daigle gets open, and now he goes strike And so they just work it right up the sideline and into the end zone. And they take a 2-point lead as we get under the halfway point of the second quarter.
Yeah, that was a classic play. Once again, we had Antoine scoring instead of making the pass to the end zone. It looked really good here. Very easy. Layout bid, still catch it, man to hang on to it. And once again, under pressure, makes it look easy.
Got a good one so far.
Yeah, Philly's really, it seems like they're coming out harder on D. Those two defensive bids were quite close. Maybe we're going to see some turnovers that they are able to cause with their defensive strength.
Montreal getting set to pull. It's going to trail out of bounds. A lot of brick pulls in this game. And it's not particularly windy. We mentioned earlier it was some drizzle. There still looks to be, from up here in the booth, it's hard to tell, but there are some puddles that are showing some signs of raindrops, so still very, very light drizzle, but not much wind. Team struggling to keep it in bounds, though, on their pulls. Philadelphia, past midfield, now looking to the end zone, and who's there? You know it. It's William Hone, and Philly back within one.
That was a really nice open side. Once again, open side. I feel like if I were the coach out there, I'd be saying to both of the teams, let's work to contain that open side cutting. Here, open side pass, right to the end zone, wide open, no challenge.
Smooth offense there from Philadelphia. See Brownlee there with the disc, getting set to pull for the Phoenix. And just a silly offsides there by the Phoenix. And it was visible up here from the booth. And so it'll be brought to midfield for the Royal.
Philly isn't doing themselves any favors with these offside pulls.
Dangerous pass there, but it's caught by Arsenault. Genet. Whistle.
Pick called against Montreal. Montreal back 10 yards.
And the pick calls have also been pretty tough in this game. I think not something you necessarily see a lot of in the AUDL. And that pass is tipped and knocked away. Brownlee got a paw on that. And he immediately went striking to the deep space, but nobody got it to him. Now Philadelphia looking to tie this up, another whistle.
By the Philadelphia bench.
And there's a timeout called on the field. That's our first timeout of the game. So the Phoenix want to talk about it, and of course in the AUDL, with the rules, you're allowed to make substitutions during timeouts. Always a strategic option to get your best offensive players on the field to convert a break like this one.
Right. Give yourself the best chance possible. Put the players on who you know are going to get the job done. Sometimes after the defensive line has been out there, they're maybe a little bit tired. You want to put in fresh legs to be able to grind hard, get it done.
So really, I think one of the stories of this game so far, the penalties have been a big factor. When we've seen penalties, a lot of times we've had turnovers coming off of those 10-yard penalties, whether it was the one at the back of the end zone for Philadelphia or the one we just saw here, 10-yard penalty for the pick call. And that's clearly interrupting flow. It may not even be about the yardage as much as it's about just getting out of the rhythm of the offense.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think it's very tough sometimes. You catch, you're ready to make the next pass to the cutter you know is going to be there, and all of a sudden a whistle blows. You have to stop, rethink your plan. Everyone's starting from dead stop. There's no movement flow, which is the easiest way to get open. Makes it much more challenging for the offensive line.
So big spot here for Philadelphia. With 4.5 to go here in the first half. Chance to break and tie it up. And we do see their offense out there. Oh, and they turn it over on their second pass. And I believe that was Klinkowski with the drop. And a tough drop is definitely true, as now Montreal gets it back. But We have a whistle.
Timeout called by Montreal.
All right, well, Montreal says, you know what? We think we'll
gonna
get
call
our
a
offense
timeout
back
also.
out of the field
Yeah.
too, because they, of course, had their D-line out there to try to prevent that score. So a little strategic maneuvering from both teams.
I find it interesting also that you would call, you'd put your offensive line out so far deep towards your own zone. You know, like it seems like it would be more logical to wait till you're up to, say, midfield before taking that chance. But let's see how it plays out for them.
So Montreal will make their substitutions. Both teams with one timeout remaining here in the first half, 2 per half in the AUDL. And again, just to take you through how we've gotten to this point in the game. 2 early breaks for the Royal. Started with a 2-0 lead. Philadelphia fought back, got a break, and it's been close ever since. Back underway here. Big fake
By Quinlan.
Quinlan.
Nice give and go right there.
And there's the big space they were looking to find as they work to this near sideline for Arsenault. Double team. High stall, but he flips the scuba, breaks the mark. And a whistle.
Pick to the throw. Back to thrower. Back 10.
So the pick called downfield, and it was before the throw to Daigle. So
It's
it'll
going
be
to
with
be Quentin Bonneau. Another French import.
and another whistle here.
Timeout called by Montreal. Montreal has 0 timeouts left.
So they're taking another timeout here. And maybe didn't like what they saw coming out of the stoppage there with the double team.
Maybe they're going to come up with a quick adjustment to how to counteract that. Use the open space downfield or use the break side to try to open up the flow of the game.
And given where they are on the field, you could also make some kind of set play from here. They, of course, had some success with that earlier in the game.
It'll be interesting to see if they do set up some. I mean, I can't really see they'd set up a split at this location on the field, but let's see what Caro Cadet decides to do.
And Allison, you've been playing since 1998, is that right?
That's right. I started playing competitively in Montreal in 1998.
How has the scene changed here over the last almost 20 years?
It's incredible. When I first started playing, there was one women's team and there was one men's team. And now there's, I want to say, 5 women's teams, 2 women's masters teams, and a whole bunch of men's teams too. We're just a little low on the co-ed scene here.
Quinlan looking deep. 3 players there, and it's tipped and caught again. The Royal coming up with all the jump balls.
Once again, we have Genet catching the disc in the end zone. 3 Montreal Royal players right there ready to catch the disc, and luckily one of them came out with it. We can see here the play, kind of a jump ball, as you said. 3 Royal players, one trips over the next one, and Antoine Genet comes down with the grab. Exciting stuff.
They're going to have to make a highlight reel of tipped catches in this game by the Royal. 12-10 now, under 3 to go in the first half. And Montreal persevering through a very long point. We had 3 timeouts. Philadelphia had a great chance to get a break. They dropped it. Montreal taking 2 timeouts, really taking their time to work that 80 yards and put it into the end zone. Big inside out pull here. Montreal again with a little zony look to begin the possession. Hone for Philadelphia. Got away with an extra step there.
Maybe it's just because he has long legs.
Mott Now shot to the end zone, and there's nobody home but the receiver, and Dustin Sullivan scores again.
Yeah, Dustin Sullivan is doing a good job of getting separation from his defender and scoring on a long pass. That's 2 or 3 that he's scored now like that. Looks pretty good, wide open on the open side. Defender, no chance, not near enough. Nate Danderand, not quite as close as he wanted to be, I think.
That was a long, sweeping cut from Sullivan, who started near the disc and ran about 70 yards to open up that deep space. So Philadelphia still trying to get this D-line going. Brownlee with the pull here for the Phoenix. This pull stays along the sideline, but it's going to fade left and out of bounds. So another bricked pull there. And if he can get that same pull 10 yards further inside the boundary, that's going to be a very good pull.
Excellent pull, and it would be right on the end. Makes it tougher for the offense to get going.
He's getting lots of hang time, but not enough in the way of keeping it in bounds. And a deep shot right away from the Royal. Not quite into the end zone. Quinlan on the goal line here. This could be a dangerous situation if you get stranded, but he does find a reset. Arsenault.
It's not quite clear what the Royals' end zone play is.
Daigle looking to the cone, and it's layout D for Shu. And so now with under 2 minutes to go, Philadelphia with a chance to tie it up before halftime. And a whistle here.
Pick. Effected to throw. Back to throw at the goal line. Then 10 yards back.
And another tough pick call goes against Philadelphia. This is going to send them back into their own end zone.
It's going to be familiar territory to them.
Under 90 seconds.
See if they can get out this time.
They have plenty of time here. More important.
Philadelphia up 10.
So contact on the mark will give them that 10 yards back. Whistled back into play, and it's going to be a timeout.
So that would be 2 timeouts per team, right? So that's all they have left.
That's
for this
correct.
half.
That was Philadelphia's second timeout of the first half. So neither team with timeouts remaining. And again, a great chance for Philadelphia. They had one earlier, couldn't convert. And they still a little over a minute to go. Plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
Even for a long possession.
Definitely. If they just keep in their heads, I'm not sure what Eileen would have said to them, but something like, just keep possession. As long as we keep possession, we're going to have time to score. Don't worry about the clock. Keep it in our own hands. Take the smart throws, and we're going to score and tie it up.
Philadelphia offense discussing their options.
Right. If Philly can tie it and then take it into half with a tie game, they're looking in like they're in a pretty good spot. Looks like they're running an isolation play.
Whistled into play. They do run the ISO, and again, they just simply turn it over on a poor pass. So another rough out-of-timeout situation, but a hand block is going to be caught by the Royal. Quentin Bonneau handles it well. So Montreal now with the opportunity. A dangerous pass and a big layout on the far side, and it's tipped.
Strip call.
And a strip call, which means it will be Montreal disc, and they will bring it centered on the goal line. 30 seconds to go. Certainly plenty of time.
Sideline referee has determined that it's 1 yard from the goal. Sideline.
So they will not get the center here after he makes the layout catch on the side. So the 10 yards brings them to within a yard of the end zone. And a little dish to the front cone, and it may have been a strip again here. Strip is called. Montreal scores, and it's 13-11. Philadelphia loses another great chance to break.
Yeah, that was amazing. I mean, they had all the time in the world, and all of a sudden, easy pass, and they just aren't successful with that one pass. And then Montreal is on the offensive. Antoine Genet makes a great save to catch it on the sideline. And then they score on a, albeit tough catch for sure, with double coverage, but they managed to get the call in their favor on the contact.
So with 24 seconds to go, now the pressure certainly is on Philadelphia to move quickly. And we'll see if Montreal does anything a little bit differently here, knowing that Philadelphia may be forced to take the deep shot. They've been running a loose zone to begin most of their defensive possessions. Under 20 seconds to go. Crowd giving some fake calls and time here. It's still 7 seconds to go. And now a blade to the back line. It's tipped and it's caught.
Brownlee catches it. Is it in time? Yes. 2 seconds left.
With 2.4 to go, Brownlee climbs the ladder. Probably should have had it on the first timer. Can't get it, but it bobbles down into his hands, and he makes the catch.
What a great catch. Under pressure like that. I mean, there's a time pressure, double coverage, goes up, misses it, but manages to keep his eye on it. Holds it tight for the score.
And that's a big score for Philadelphia. We'll stay close here. Now, 2.4, I've seen it happen. I've seen scores happen with this much time left, but it does have to be perfect.
Has to be perfect. You basically have one chance to huck it and make a catch in the end zone.
We'll see how Philadelphia decides to play it. They will leave 3 defenders in the backfield. Disc is caught by Genet. He rips the backhand. This is not going to get to the end zone, and Brownlee takes it out of the sky, and that brings us to halftime here in Montreal. Well, an exciting first half, Allison.
Definitely exciting. It's a great game to be watching. Sometimes, when there's a blowout on either side, it's less entertaining to, it's harder to stay in the game when you're watching. But exciting plays on both sides. It seems like, if Philly is able to just clean up those unforced errors a little bit, this game could go either way.
Well, when we come back out of the halftime break, we'll talk a little bit about how the Montreal Royal have been so successful at developing and filling their stadium and some of the leagues in Montreal. We'll also talk more about this game, of course. We'll be back in about 10 minutes for the start of the second half. You're watching a UDL Extra.
Field, and there's Bailey.
Was there ever any doubt that Will Chen would find a way to make the play?
How about that? Back in the ground for 4.
top bid out of the Atlantic Coast.
Earls lines up, shooting for Thorne. What a throw.
Amazing catch, even with contact. Great catch for the Nashville Nighthawks sword.
The great swipe tag on the head Orioles won.
I had the American Ultimate Disc League package on the DirecTV. I was watching Nashville against Austin, and my boy Colin Grandin, he's got a mitt. Oh, what a play.
Freechild and Malachek, little give and go. Finds Dalton Smith. Freechild striking deep and closes in for that score. Laurie now to Freechild. Freechild, big backhand. Jimmy Mickle in the deep space, double covered. Jimmy just picks that right out of the air.
That's really just one of Jimmy's great qualities when he is going deep and he can size up a throw.
Nice. Outside in flick to Freechild. Freechild backhand to Laurie. Laurie looking. A little quick give and go between Freechild to Malachek.
That's just one of the things about Freechild. It's like you can be within a yard of him and you're probably not even close enough yet.
Mickle. You see him wind up. And to Dylan Freechild. Freechild right outside the goal. Finds Jay Frood in the end zone. Cut to Jimmy Mickle. Freechild going deep. Mickle finds him. Freechild about 5 yards outside the end zone. And Casey Hogg with that cut for the score. Now Dallas has another chance here. Ben Laurie, the big backhand. Dylan Freechild in the deep space. He reads it and is just outside the goal line. Dishes it to Casey Hogg. Casey Hogg to Barnhart. Barnhart launches the backhand, looking for Wright. Wright trying to close in. Dylan Freechild nearby. And that's a no-go. Over to Dalton Smith. Smith puts up a backhand to Freechild. We have Freechild and Hogg. Dylan says, no, I got this. Malachek. Malachek to Freechild. Freechild with a low IO flick to Jay Frood.
Do you want me to go right now? If you have an hour to kill and you want to get weird, check out Sin the Fields.
We want to be the everyman podcast. We're not for elite ultimate players. We're probably further from elite ultimate players than anything else. You know, if people ask, I'm like, you know, it's like a ultimate culture podcast. And they're like, what do you mean ultimate culture? Like plays and stuff? I'm like, no, not like plays and stuff at all. Like hanging out and like tournaments and party tournaments and weird ultimate news. It gets really weird at times. As Pat and I often say, you know, like the stuff that we cut out of the show is the burn folder. You know, we would have to move to a different country. Ultimate should be accessible, and all the goofiness and the weirdness, I think that's something relatable regardless of who listens. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I loved that you guys talk about cancer awareness, and it's more about body awareness and knowing their own bodies.
And I think Eric is a wonderful way to bring this into school. You come with a complete program.
The information is good. It's presented in a very professional way. The instructors do an excellent job.
I think the kids overall had a great time. I can see from their responses that they wanted us to get some more ultimate discs in the school, and that we'll be playing all the way into the spring and summer.
We really appreciated you coming out. We love the message you guys send.
Yeah, thank you for coming out.
Thank you, Eric, for coming out to the Pittsburgh area. It's a great experience for our kids.
Thank you for sharing your message with the kids. We really appreciate the energy that you've brought, and I really encourage anybody else who might be interested in this program to bring them on in.
Welcome back to Montreal. We're here at the Claude Robillard Stadium, where Montreal leads Philadelphia 13-12 at the end of the first half. We had a great first half of action. Charlie Eisenhood, joined by Allison Fisher, here with you. Thanks for being with us here on the AUDL Extra broadcast presented by UltiWorld. And Allison, we'll have some time in a moment to talk a little bit more about the game, but I actually want to take a moment and discuss something about Montreal that I personally find particularly interesting, and I think viewers would be interested to know as well. This is the team that led the league in average attendance last year. There's a ton of people here today. It's kind of hard to get a head count from where we are. Maybe they'll announce official attendance a little bit later today. But why has the Royal, which is a team that is not necessarily making the playoffs or proving to be one of the best teams in the league, why have they been so successful here to draw fans and develop what's been a really good fan base?
Well, I think there are several reasons that we could probably point out. One that I would like to point out first is that, well, first, there's a ton of people who play in Montreal. I mean, we have leagues that go every night, you know, and it goes like Division A all the way to Division F.
Wow.
Indoor, outdoor, 5-on-5, 4-on-4. As you may know, there's a huge 4-on-4 circuit in the winter here because obviously with the amount of snow that we get, we're not playing outside so much. So there just are a lot of people who are interested in Ultimate. And the owners of the Royal, in particular Jean-Lévy, they've been long-time players, and they're very passionate about the sport. So I think the way that they approach the game here is they transmit their passion for the sport. They encourage, they have a group for the kids to come out. You come in as a family, and you let your kids go learn how to throw, play some games, be involved on the field as well. So they really want to encourage not just ultimate players to come out and watch, which I think in the majority of the games around the AUDL, it's the people who play locally, or the families of the people who are on the field who attend the games. Whereas here, there's tons of people. Yes, last week I was sitting next to some players that they play in league, but they definitely do not play competitively, and they were more passionate about what was going on in the field than all the elite players who are sitting in the watching the game as well. So I think the Royal have done a really good job in their marketing and encouraging people to say, come out, discover what Ultimate is. They're in the media a lot within Quebec. So they have a deal with TVA Sport also to play their games. So
and what's that?
TVA Sport is a TV station that plays sports in Quebec.
Okay.
So with French announcers, and so they come and video here. They're actual ultimate players who do the announcing and do the videoing, and then TVA Sport will play the games. So later on during the season, people who are not familiar with Ultimate might be out watching, it's like kind of like a little bit like ESPN3, where you happen to be upon a game and you're like, what is this sport?
Right.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Right.
Why, I want to go check it out. Oh, they play in Montreal. Oh, I'm going to go watch a game. It's not that expensive, and it's a good game. It's fun to watch.
Do you think it will be, so let's say Montreal doesn't make the playoffs, which they're not favored to make the playoffs. If they don't make the playoffs, is that going to be is it still going to be a successful championship weekend here?
I definitely think so. The amount of energy that they're putting into it already. I've got a little scoop on the behind-the-scenes things, because I do a little bit of translation for them.
Okay.
So I have a pretty good idea of what their vision is, and I definitely think it'll be successful. I mean, even if it's not the Royal who's involved, there's Toronto, there's Ottawa. Those are not too far away. Those cities,
Sure.
In New York, even any of those teams, people can come up to. It's not a terrible drive from any of those cities. And, Montreal has a lot to offer, not just in the game. So, you come for the experience of Montreal, a little joie de vivre here in Quebec.
Yeah, I could say for sure Montreal is a beautiful city. This is my second time here, and I'm not sightseeing as much as I was last time because I'm here for the game today, but I'm very excited to be back in August and take basically a vacation while also doing some work during the weekend.
There's tons of festivals going on.
Right.
Lots of things to explore, and not only just, on the field during the championship weekend.
Right. Well, we've got about 5 minutes to go until we get underway here in the second half. Let's turn our attention now to this game. We have a 13-12 game right now. Royal with a lead. And really, they opened up an early lead, and they've held it ever since. They had the 2-0 lead to begin the game with 2 breaks. Philadelphia got one of their breaks back and had multiple chances in that second quarter to tie the game up, but couldn't convert and really struggled out of the timeout situations. Is there any one reason that you see that Montreal is out in front right now and has held that lead?
I think that Montreal has just been, as we've discussed a little bit, luckier in the end zone with their tips and catches. And Philly's been a little less lucky on their, when it was the double calls in the end zone where they had to back up 5 yards, 10 yards, 10 yards. I mean, that's pretty tough to get out of the back corner of your own end zone. And similarly, they've had a few, I don't want to say uncharacteristic, but maybe, unforced errors that I bet they all wish they had back.
Yeah, it's felt like a very even game since we really got past that first 2 points. And aside from that, it's been a good back-and-forth battle. And Philadelphia's got to feel like they're maybe a little lucky to be as close as they are in this game. I mean, their offense has done enough to stay definitely in the game, but they've had so many chances that they haven't been able to put in that maybe you could feel frustrated by that, but you could also say, well, hey, we didn't convert. They had a bunch of lucky bounces go their way, and we're only down 1.
Right, let's take it to them in the second half. We're right in this game.
We know we can compete. So Philadelphia, again, hunting for their first win of the season. They're 0-4 right now. Montreal definitely needs this win if they want to stay competitive in the East for the playoff race. I mean, of course, it's not over by any stretch of the imagination if you fall to 2-3, but with those big games coming up against those top teams, you got more games on the road coming up later this year. That's a challenging ask to be able to go into New York or D.C. and try to get a win on the road. We already saw them against New York once this year, and as you mentioned earlier, their worst game not only of this season but as a franchise, scoring just 8 goals. So lots of work for them to do if they want to get into that playoff race. A win today would certainly help. So we got 2 minutes to go as we get set for this second half. What do you think? Any adjustments that the teams need to make as they prepare for this second half?
Yeah, well, I think just like you said, I'm sure Eileen, the Philly head coach, talked to them about, okay, guys, let's just maintain possession with the disc. If we get rid of those few errors and we challenge a little bit more in the air in the end zone, we're going to be right in this game. Maybe we're even going to take the lead. And I think on Caro's side, I think that the Royal, they're playing their game. Their offense is looking good. The D can maybe be a little tighter on the open side to capitalize on more potential turnovers.
So the teams will send their starting lineups for the second half out to the field here as we get ready to begin this second half. The rain has continued, and it's so light it's not even visible from up here, but a very light drizzle falling as it has for the majority of the game. And cool temperatures today, mid 50s, low 50s.
It's definitely cool.
Not unplayably cold.
No, it's a nice.
I heard last
nice
weekend here in Montreal was very cold.
Last weekend it was very cold. I was in the stands watching, but definitely on the field you can see that the guys that were on the sideline weren't exactly feeling super warm.
As it's been in, I live in New York City. We've had some interesting temperature swings over the last few weeks as it goes from being hot to being spring temperatures, then cold again.
Yeah, in Montreal we pretty much have not had spring yet.
Right.
We're waiting. It's coming. Next week.
The Lions taking the field now. And that brings us to get set for the start of this third quarter. It will be Montreal pulling, so Philadelphia will have a chance to tie the game on offense here. And once again, it's just that one break advantage that Montreal has that has them out in front. And off we go here in the second half. Katzenbach swings far side. Again, lots of matchup downfield defense from the Royal. William Hone finds the reset. There's Katzenbach. Dumps it back. Whistle.
The call is travel. Thrower, back 10 yards, stalling, 4.
So a 10-yard penalty with the stall at 4. He's going to need to get rid of it in a hurry here. Spiva does so, finds Hone with a 20-yard gainer. Hone unleashes a forehand and drops it into the end zone for Sean Mott. And Philly ties it up here, 13-13 to begin this second half.
That was a great look, cross-field throw, put it out to space. Made it look pretty easy to get that score. Montreal is going to need to tighten up their D. Right, just throws a huge flick right into the hands of Sean Mott.
Nice play by Mott.
And the kick spike.
Good to see him feeling okay after going down hard after a collision in the end zone late in the second quarter. Brownlee with the pull for the Phoenix. And Brownlee's pull again out of bounds. He has been inconsistent today with that pull. And it will be a very nice starting field position for the Royal.
Yeah, it's definitely an advantage to be able to keep your pull in bounds in these situations.
Antoine Genet with the break backhand to get things started for the Montreal offense. And they continue on that break side to the end zone. And it's a beautiful score in the hands of Tim Bonneau.
Yeah, that was an excellent score. I don't think Miguel hesitated for 1 second. He caught it and just put it out to space in the end zone. Miguel Godet, it was a beautiful throw right to the open receiver. The defender got close, but not enough really to make it a tough catch.
So nice offense again. Montreal, when they get their pull play going or they get those set play looks, they can really score in a hurry. We've had a number of very easy scores today in those situations.
They were definitely helped in that situation by the field position on the pull that went out of bounds.
Right. This pull will land and roll into the hands of Katzenbach, who centers to Mott. Pardon me, that was Klimkowski taking the centering pass. Spiva. And a whistle.
Pick prior to the throw, back to thrower, back 10.
So 10-yard penalty goes against the Phoenix, and they have been in this situation too many times today. Spiva will check it in on the goal line, find Katzenbach right away. And
that's going to be a tough disc to catch up to. Too much angle.
And that was, I believe, Mike Arcata on the throwaway there. So Montreal will take over. Mauricio Martinez puts it into play. Back with Martinez. And he makes a dangerous pass, but a whistle could bail out Montreal here.
Timeout was called by Montreal prior.
The timeout just before the turnover.
Montreal disc.
And so lucky for Montreal as that pass from Martinez was destined to be a turnover.
I wonder if it was the high stall count that made him make that choice.
So Martinez looking at maybe a stall 5 situation there. Only a 7-second stall in the AUDL. So the timeout, and Montreal will get their best offensive players on the field with a chance to extend the lead back to 2.
Maybe Philly will be able to get a D in this situation.
Well, certainly Montreal has had the better of the timeout setups, if you will. Philadelphia coming out of timeouts not very successful in the first half. Montreal doing a lot better. But they do clog the lane here. Montreal does break through, and then breaking the double team, floating a pass deep into coverage. It's caught, and is it into the end zone? Yes, it is. Montreal breaks, and it's a 2-point lead.
Andre Arsenault with the score. That was a pretty nice cut. I thought it was interesting, actually, that I think it was Félix Antoine Daigle who took that throw. Yeah, nice backhand. A little bit floaty, perhaps. Maybe he didn't want it to be floating that much, but I think he really trusts Arsenault to be able to pull it down for the score.
So a great conversion again for Montreal.
Yeah, once again, you could say they got lucky on that timeout right before the turnover, able to capitalize on
I think you could call that a skillful use of the timeout.
That was an excellent use of the timeout.
And, you know,
possibly the best I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's early in the second half for sure to use one of your 2 timeouts, but to convert that break, I mean, when are you going to get a better opportunity than taking away a turnover and turning it into a break?
I agree.
An excellent timeout call by the head coach from the sideline. Phoenix playing catch-up. Flimkowski far side. Jams it underneath. Hone looking deep again. Showing off his throws. Tipped and caught on the back line. And that's Sean Mott again. And this time it falls Philadelphia's way.
That's right. Philly comes out on top on that tip disc. I was wondering if there was going to be a call on the play. It looked like maybe there was some contact in this bid by Nate Dandurand, but no, it looks like he maybe just tipped it. And luckily, he had a teammate following him in the back, made the catch right on the end zone line.
And a quick correction, I believe that was Dustin Sullivan on the score. Here's Brownlee with the pull for the Phoenix.
And stays in bounds.
And a good pull, slicing down on the blade. Now a completely unmarked Daigle now gets a mark. It's Brownlee. Royal send it around to Quinlan. There's a whistle. And it's caught.
Back to thrower.
By Coder.
Back 10.
And I don't know that it would have mattered because of the whistle had already stopped play at that point, but it would be a 10-yard penalty. It'll stay with Quinlan. Philly opts not to go for the double team. A high stall situation avoided by Montreal. Now Quinlan looking to the end zone. He's got Bonneau, and Quinton Bonneau climbs the ladder, and Montreal takes a 16-14 lead.
That was a great look by Quinlan. He saw that Quinton was striking long, and he just put it up to space. Looks really good from here. Big backhand hook into space, and an excellent grab. A little bit of pressure. I think the French imports are doing a good job integrating well into the Royal system.
Absolutely. And do all of these French imports live here in Montreal right now?
Right, so the two French players that came from France, they actually live in Montreal. They moved here for the summer.
Just to play on the team?
Just to play on the team. Well,
wow.
You know, there's no opportunities in
Sure.
Europe to be able to play Pro Ultimate, so I think they were happy for the chance. Plus, they're very young, so you know, they probably don't have too many responsibilities back home that would keep them there over the summer.
No long-established career to worry
or family.
about. Philadelphia, again, it's Hone looking deep. This one's hanging, and it's knocked away. Great defense by the Royal, bringing the double coverage and chasing down that disc. I think it was David Ferraro who really got that block.
That was a great block. He just went up earlier than anybody else and was able to knock it away.
Monfette. Back to Max Rick. And Rick's throw just off target. And they give it back to Philadelphia. Spiva. And a great layout catch to save possession from Sullivan. This comes around. Back to the Hone. Even now, the Montreal frontline defenders are sagging generally to try to take away the lane, slowing down Philadelphia's attack. Katzenbach to the front cone, and that is just a veteran cut right there from Trey Katzenbach, who's been around the game a very long time.
And you can see Maxwell Rick, who's trying to get his throwaway back on that layout attempt to get the block. But it was just an easy up-the-line pass to a covered but open enough receiver to be able to make that score count.
Katzenbach just bodies
his
and
way through
bullies his way to the front cone. And it was good position from the defender, but Katzenbach just knew that he needed to get that inside edge.
I think that's going to give Philly a boost of confidence too, to get that good score.
Phoenix looking for a break. Good inside pass. Finds Arsenault. Quintambano to Godet. And a huge gainer. And a continuation cut. Hangs up on the throw, though, but an excellent job in the end zone to haul it in. Quinlan goes over the top, but we do have a whistle.
Back to thrower, back 10.
And either a travel, it's a push-off call in the end zone, and the crowd does not like it. But Quinlan gets called for the push-off, and that's a 10-yard penalty back at the spot of the throw. So head referee didn't like the arm extension to create some extra space.
And so Vopel's going to take it back near the sideline.
And a turnover off the stop disc. And how many times have we seen that today? Scott Yu will check it in for the Phoenix as Philadelphia looks to break and tie the game.
They've got a full field to go. Let's see if they can do it.
Matt Esser's strike cut, covered. Dangerous pass there, but gets to Doug Roman, but Roman turns it over as it's intercepted by Daigle. And the Royal go to the end zone and they score.
That was a great heads-up play by Félix Antoine. He just saw where the pass was going to go, stepped into the lane, took it away, and then it was easy to give and go for the score. That was a very smart move by the veteran captain. Antoine, excellent.
Easy
attack.
Score. And so many times today we've seen the Phoenix get a takeaway down on this side, needing to go 80 yards, turn it over on the short field, and the Royal have punished them every time.
Every time. The Royal have been very successful in taking advantage of those turnovers.
And a roller pull here. Trails out of bounds. And the disc squirts away. And they do have a replacement disc. The player chased after it, but of course they're required. And an interesting situation there is the player was running back onto the field. The contact, as you heard from the referee, will give a 10-yard penalty in favor of the Phoenix. Double team on the sideline and a nice step through backhand break to get it out of there. High pass to Hone, and it's knocked away on the far side as that pass hung up too much. Montreal now with a great chance to extend their lead to the biggest of the game. Attacking quickly here. Tremblay-Jonca. Inside break. And that's a great throw. Dave Ferraro hauls it in. And the Royal go up 3.
Yeah, that all started with that great defensive play on the sideline. I feel like the Philly thrower put it up a little bit too high in the air. Gave an opportunity to Montreal to get the D. Right? Quick inside-out break. Hard to defend that play.
And the mark has to do a better job there to take that throw away. But a excellent find. Ferraro gets into the end zone. And it's the biggest lead of the game for Montreal. 3 points.
18-15.
Lots of time left for Philadelphia. But at some point, their D-line is going to have to show a little more energy after the turnover.
I think their offense needs to keep their throws a little less high and giving opportunities to the Royal defense to challenge those throws.
Quick double team on the roller. Hammer gets them off the line. And a nice layout catch to save possession in the middle of the field from Sullivan. Big wide swing to Brownlee. He's forced to go up pretty aggressively, and it goes over his outstretched hand. And a whistle.
Pick called against Montreal. Back to thrower, back 10.
We're seeing more floaty passes because the wind is picked up out there. It's hard to tell from up here what the conditions are like. I mean, the rain is basically stopped, but maybe it has gotten a little gustier.
The Royal working out of their own end zone. Dangerous pass, and it's knocked away on the layout D, nearly a Callahan. And now they're going to have a referee review here. And the intended receiver there was Arsenault. And it looked from here like a clean layout block. And it was Spiva from Philadelphia getting in the way of that one. And if anything, Spiva was there first, and Arsenault got him. We'll see what the referees say here.
Did not judge the Philadelphia player to have contact, therefore it's not a strip, but it is a foul. Philadelphia disc centered on the goal line.
So there was never a question that that was a clean block from Spiva. And the question was whether or not he had caught the disc and then was taken out. Therefore, it would have been a layout Callahan. But they say no, and instead it will be Philly disc on the goal line. So a great chance here for Philadelphia. Another whistle.
Looks like maybe they just started too early. Didn't wait.
Offsetting contacts. Stall returns at 1.
So there were 2 contact fouls, 1 from each team, so they just reset the stall count. Philly resets, and then they go back across the grain and into the end zone. So Philly gets the hold as Scott Shue gets the score.
Yeah, that was a nice patient play for Philly, actually. You know, they got the turnover, and then they were actually able to capitalize on it. We haven't seen that too much during this game, so that's good for Philly that they, they can build on that. Here we go with the play. Nice pass. Good defense, but found the open man.
So the Phoenix are back within 2 as time winds down here in the third quarter. Just under 3 to go. Montreal offense looking to stay as solid as they've been in this game. High arcing pull from the Phoenix. Lands on the sideline, and a nice job to immediately center it up to Antoine Genet. And a throw from Genet misses the target. A bit too far out for Contambano. And now the Phoenix have great field position and a chance to break. Spiva. Resets to Esser. Working on this near sideline. Hammer fake. Now looking to the flick up the line. It's caught, and it's towed in for the Philadelphia score.
I'm impressed that he was able to keep his feet in bounds there. It was a pretty narrow corridor that the thrower threw into. I guess he absolutely trusts his receiver to be able to make that catch.
And that's a huge score for Philly. They had been looking for this break. It's their first of the second half as Russo throws it into the end zone. And so now the Phoenix back within 1.
Yeah, that was it's coming to be a very exciting game now. I mean, Montreal was able to take a 3-point lead, and now we're down to 1 point.
And really just an unforced error there from Montreal. Genet has been very solid in this game and just missed on the inside forehand.
Well, as the game progresses too, right? I mean, the players get more tired. It takes more mental energy to focus on making the perfect play.
Huge pull from Brownlee. Lands just out the back, and that one was almost perfect. But 2 yards perhaps too far. And in the AUDL, if your pull lands inbounds and rolls out the back, the offense has to start the disc on the back line. So there's an incentive to try to put it on that back line, and that time he just missed. Well, Montreal with a sneaky little play to gain some early yards in this possession. Steve Bonneau. Now a high pass from Janae, and it goes over everybody's head and drops into Quinlan. How many times in this game have we seen that?
I don't know how. He just knew the disc was coming there. All of the other players were, 10 yards from him going up for the Frisbee, and he just managed to pull that down. That was great. I mean, I think Janae maybe with not thinking that his pass was going to go quite so high and make it so challenging. Quinlan was in the right space just to be able to catch that in the end zone.
And they have had a knack for having the right player in the right place at the right time.
What is that, the 4th or 5th goal they've been able to score like that?
I think so. And the Janae, looking for the big around backhand, had to put a little air bounce on that one, and it popped up. And again, Philadelphia has to go to the sideline feeling frustrated with another missed chance for a block.
Sure, I think, the stadium might also play a little factor, at least in the old stadium at the Royal used to play, and every time you got to the end zones where the stands ended, the disc would always pop up because there was just all these gusts of winds coming through where there were no more stands to block you.
Interesting.
Sometimes it's hard to adjust to that.
Philly looking deep right away, goes high and caught on the second effort. That's Ryan Brown with the catch. Here's Spiva to the end zone. Goal, Philadelphia. Ken Wells gets there for the Phoenix.
And that was nice. He initiated his cut. You could see from the far side of the field, the closed side or break side, as we like to say, and just outran his man to the open side. Here we can see little dish. He just started his cut early, right to the open side. Montreal did not have a chance.
And that's, for those of you watching and learning at home, that is picture perfect continuation cutting.
That's right. You initiate from the far side. You have lots of space to get open on the open side. Make it easier on the thrower.
Marquez Brownlee again will pull, see if he can dial in one of these big pulls and stick it in bounds. This one a little bit lower, and this one will land in. Not quite as deep as the previous. Antoine Genet. Resets to Daigle. Now Montreal finds some room upfield. Quinlan. Daigle look to the strike cut. Gets it to Quinlan. Layout and not quite. Janae releasing from the backfield, and he was open, and the throw just eluded him.
I feel like if he had gone other hand layout to reach with his left instead of his right, he might have had a better chance at that.
Difficult to catch the trailing edge there with the right hand. Phoenix with a chance to tie it up. 40 seconds to go here in the third quarter. Shu to Spiva. 30 seconds. Big layout, simultaneously caught by both players. Shu hangs on. The handlers having a lot of difficulty finding their cutters as time ticks away here in the third. And a turnover on the short dish pass looking for Shu. And now they've got to play defense. There's no time to think about your mistake. They go to the end zone, and Montreal punches it in. And that's a painful mistake if you're Philadelphia, because they stood and thought about the mistake, and that gave a chance for Montreal to get into a great position to punch in the score. and go back up by 2 with 6 seconds to go here in the third.
You can see Dag, he's just looking for Antoine. I mean, they play together so often. So easy for him to just put it to space. Antoine runs it down. I'm sure Antoine's glad that he has that score to make up for his lack of catching it on the last bid. Although, of course, it was a very good bid.
7 seconds left for Philadelphia. This is a huck and hope situation coming up for the Phoenix. Bull dropping down. It'll be Katzenbach to field.
Montreal's going to want to play tight D here to not let off a huck if they can avoid it.
They have an unmarked position, but the throw is going to sail short of the end zone, and no matter, it's intercepted by the Royal, and that brings us to the end of the third quarter with Montreal up 20-18 on the Phoenix.
Yeah, that was Christophe Tremblay-Jonca able to pull that down in the jump ball scenario.
So an exciting third quarter. Montreal ultimately tacks on an extra score in this frame, and they will head into the fourth and final quarter with a 2-point lead. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's time for the fourth quarter. You're watching the AUDL Extra presented by Ultiworld.
So this piece with Eric is amazing to me. It's right in line with what we think is critical for kids, and that is to know their bodies.
The kids have really gotten into having speakers here that aren't just their teachers.
And I think the clinicians did a fantastic job. All the kids were engaged, none of them were distracted. They seemed to get into it right away.
I just want to reach out to Eric and tell him, thank you for coming and sharing the message that our kids can speak up. Early recognition is critical, and I look forward to doing more things with Eric in the future.
It's been great for us as a staff and for our students to experience the message you guys have, and highly recommend it for any school that has the opportunity.
Welcome back to Claude Robillard Stadium in Montreal, where the Royal have a 20-18 lead over the Phoenix. As we get set to begin the fourth quarter, Charlie Eisenhood, Allison Fisher with you. Getting set here, the players taking the line. And a very even match. Allison, any thoughts as we head into the final quarter?
Well, I think Philly needs to really press on D. They really need to take advantage of any possible turnovers they can get and actually convert in order to have any chance of winning this game.
Philadelphia trails out of bounds. Really, a lot of pulls have gone out of bounds for the Phoenix, for Brownlee. Double team to start for Philly. Montreal, patient, works through it and finds the big gainer underneath.
Quinlan on the side.
Quinlan goes up the line to Godet, and a whistle.
All centers the disc. Stall one.
So centering there for Godet, and he goes right into the end zone for the Montreal score, and that's an important one as they retake a 3-point lead.
It's a huge advantage to give away a contact there on the sideline, right? You go from forcing the sideline play to having the disc in the middle of the field. It's much easier to score when you're in the middle. You can see here in the replay, right? Easy pass, pick a side, cutter goes, and Quinlan for the easy score.
And the difference is that you really just have both sides of the field to work with. And it's so difficult with the wide end zone of the AUDL.
Yeah, as a defender, you just can't take away everything.
Effectively contest both sides.
Right. Whereas if it's on the sideline, you know, there's a much more limited space.
And you really can't trust the mark because the thrower can easily just throw a big outside-in pass or a scuba that goes way up and out because there's so much room on the break side. 21-18, Montreal with that 3-point lead. Philadelphia needing to not only stay clean on offense, but to generate pressure on defense and then, of course, convert. And a whistle.
Delay of game called against Montreal for stall counting.
Oh, so the Montreal player began stall counting, and that is a penalty, 10 yards.
It's a penalty to count the stall?
I believe that's correct.
Because it's the ref that counts the stall in the
that is correct. I don't think I've ever seen that called in a game.
I didn't even know that was something you couldn't do.
Of course, a force of habit for players.
I was exactly going to say that. Force of habit you play in club season.
Pick against Philadelphia, back 10, stalling 6.
Stall coming in on 6 here, so very dangerous situation for the Phoenix. And a very nice decision to float a backhand out into space, but another whistle.
Timeout was called prior to the throw.
Timeout called prior to the throw.
So Philly wants to talk about it. And you could understand why they would take the timeout there.
Exactly. Well, Montreal took a similar timeout on a similar situation earlier where they were close to stall. I mean, it might not have been stall 6, but stall 5 for sure. And it worked for them. They managed to score on the play. So let's see what happens here.
Philadelphia really cannot afford to give up any more breaks. So a smart timeout, even though the pass was ultimately completed.
No, it's a smart decision by the coach. You don't want to take that chance that it's a turnover, and then Montreal goes up another break.
See Spiva talking to his teammates. Spiva was added to the U.S. national team that will compete at the World Games this summer after Kurt Gibson was unable to play due to an injury.
And Spiva, he hails from D.C., right? Is he a D.C. player?
Yeah, he's from Nashville, Tennessee originally, and has played with Washington, D.C. in recent years, and decided that he wanted to head up the Acela corridor and compete with the Phoenix this year. And whistled back into play, quick double team. Double team has not been particularly effective for either team today. Spiva takes the reset.
I think we're starting to see some sun on the field.
Arcata goes up the line. Now dished back to Spiva. And again, it goes up the line and into the end zone for Mott. And a nice hold for the Phoenix out of the timeout.
Yeah, that was great. I'm glad they actually got to score. Even, you know, they called a timeout. They must have run their play, and it was successful for them. You can see here on the replay that it's a nice dump back. I mean, they're still on the line, but then it's basically an easy pass up line, probably a little bit outside in to maybe be able to hit his offender, cutting into the end zone deep.
10 minutes to go in the game. Montreal looking to get above 500. Currently sitting at 2-2, and Philly trying to add one to the win column. They have not won a game in a mighty long time. They went 0-14 last season, and they're 0-4 to start this year. But they are very competitive, and they're right in this game as we hear a whistle and a travel called prior to the throw. So a 10-yard penalty will go against the Royal. So a good chance for the Phoenix to put on some additional pressure here on the stop disc. Janae steps into a huge forehand. It's going to sit up tall. Players jockeying for position, and it goes over both players' heads, and for once, there's no Royal player on the backside ready to make the second effort catch. So Phoenix will take over here. It'll be Esser to bring it to the goal line. Brownlee underneath. Ryan Brown. Crowd a little restless as Brown, feeling the pressure of the stall count, has to put it up deep up to a covered Scott Jew, and the Royal get it back. And they have played excellent defense on that D-line, especially on their cutters, to generate those turnovers when they do turn the disc over. Big bid from Esser, but he can't get a hand on it as the disc comes to Quinlan. Quinlan rips one, but it's tipped and nearly caught on the second effort. But the Phoenix earned the block.
Yeah, Arsenault was wide open out there.
And a whistle.
Timeout called by Philadelphia.
So Philadelphia is going to take their final timeout of the second half with 8 minutes and 20 seconds to go, but seeing an opportunity here to get a break and must like their chances or feel like they need to really push the pace to try to get back close in this game.
Yeah, well, they can bring the game within one if they are successful with their scoring attempt right now, so it makes total sense.
Do you like the timeout call with this much time left?
I think you have to be opportunistic. I think you have to take it when you can. So in this situation where you can bring you within one, that's a lot of pressure on the Royal to maintain the lead, right? If they have a 2-point buffer, there's less pressure. So as a coach, sure, I would consider taking it now, for sure.
We've just seen their D-line struggle so much to get the disc moving up the field. Head coach saying, well, we've got the disc. We've already had a chance on this possession. Let's try to put this one in and just have to play the rest of the half without any timeouts. So the players take their positions.
If the game goes to overtime, do they add timeouts?
That's a great question. I think they do, and we will have to consult the rule book to see exactly how many timeouts. I think they probably get one timeout each in the first overtime. As a shot goes up right off of the timeout call, and it's hauled in by Arcata, and he dishes right to the front cone, and Philly back within one.
Oh, that was a great play. I mean, he basically threw a full field huck to a wide open receiver, and then it was an easy dish into the end zone. That was great. I'm glad that Philly was able to succeed on that. Nice throw, floats, but not too much, right into the hands of the cutter. He's patient, waits, little dish to Mott. They take it within one. All right, it's a 21-20 Royal and Phoenix.
So an exciting.
Can Philly get a D here?
And that will be the question. Big pull goes up from the Phoenix. It's a good one. Lands dead center. And a quiet crowd here in Montreal. And a layout, Callahan! Oh my!
You don't see that often. Wow, that was an amazing play. I mean, you could see
Greg Martin.
You could see that Félix Antoine Daigle, he was running high on his stall count. He looked at Antoine for a dump, and he just didn't. Antoine moved one way, moved another way, and the defender just came in, made the grab for a score.
Had Greg Martin, a late addition to the roster after some of the other players couldn't get across the border.
Guess
and
that
they
was
tie it up with a layout Callahan.
up.
We've seen a couple close layout Callahans. They didn't, nothing converted, and Martin just takes advantage of a poor swing pass, and this game is tied.
There's still a lot of time left. Let's see if Philly can do it again.
And now Montreal looking a little skittish as the centering pass goes to Genet. He goes up ahead to Arsenault.
Against the thrower for pushing the marker, Montreal back 10.
And the referee not having any of it, as there was a push-off called against Arsenault on Esser. Reset to Genet. Godet. Again, Genet. Philadelphia sagging off that reset handler on the sideline. Godet bounces one to Quinlan.
With the hammer.
Quinlan looking deep, and it tips off the hand of the laying out, number 49, Daigle.
That was a great bid. I mean, that's a tough catch to catch at any time. But, you know, under pressure, the score is 21-21.
He had a hand on it. I mean, he looked like he closed his hand and just couldn't quite seal the deal, so the Phoenix have a chance to go ahead. And this has been a long road back for the Phoenix. Looking deep to Brownlee. Brownlee milks it, and he's into the end zone for the score.
Hey, that's the first time that Philly is up, takes the lead for the first time in the game, right?
That's absolutely right, Allison. They go in front for the first time all game, and it's on a absolutely tremendous throw and a great cut from Brownlee.
It was an excellent, huge flick huck right up the middle of the field. Brownlee just, as you said, milks it, protects it, covers it until he's sure he's going to be in the end zone, puts his two hands on it. Score to take the lead, 22-21.
6:34 to go here in the fourth. And Philly looking to get their first win of this 2017 season and break an 18-game losing streak. And the pull, another good one from Philadelphia. Montreal works out to near the brick mark. Nice work to get it up ahead into the hands of Dandurand. Now dish back to Rick. Some defensive players on the field after a couple of sloppy O points.
I was going to say, you don't see that high release flick thrown very often.
Rick looking to the end zone. It floats high. It's knocked around, and it's a turnover, and Philadelphia takes over. And the Royal player was looking for a call on a strip, but he did not get it. So now the Phoenix will turn it over right back.
Thrown to traffic.
And it looked like maybe a slip there from Oak Nelson, and couldn't reel it in. So the Royal get it back with good field position. They will go to the end zone, and they will tie the game at 22.
Kevin Grew with the score. Good anticipation. You could just see that was good vision, the cross-field throw. I think the dump was looking for it, and all of a sudden it went cross-field, and then they just had so much space and time, right? You could just see perfect, right to the second player in the front, Phil Tierge. Nice, puts it out to space for Kev Grew to pull it in.
So tied up, 5.5 to go. And remember, these teams played a double overtime game not too long ago in the first week, the home opener for the Phoenix. And it feels like that kind of game.
I agree. At least we might see one OT.
The sun's starting to peek through after a rainy morning. It's 3 o'clock here in Montreal. Crowd is fired up. Another nice pull. As the rain has stopped, the pulling has improved. Philly's offense goes through Arcata. Back now with Spiva. And some uncertainty on that cut, maybe feeling the pressure And a drop. Ken Wells couldn't hang on. Now the Royal looking to the end zone, and they can't come up with it. The pass into the end zone a little too low. And Philadelphia will take back over. Spiva directing traffic.
It was a nice bid by Francis Vallée, but just couldn't dig under it.
Hone comes underneath. Back to Spiva. Hone. Sullivan dishes back to Katzenbach, and it goes around the horn. Spiva. Now a shot to the end zone. And excellent speed from the Royal defender, Andre Arsenault. And the Royal take back over, and the crowd is pumped up. And quiet again for the offense. Rick. Tivierge. And a whistle. And I believe a stall called. Not indicated by the referee over the microphone, but indeed there was a stall called. So it will be Philadelphia disc on the goal line as time ticks away here. Philadelphia with a great opportunity to get back in front. They whistle it back into play. No call.
Well, there's a referee review. Maybe they are going to discuss the play.
So we'll take another look. As it stands, that is a Philadelphia goal. But the Royal player feeling like there was a push-off. Let's take another look while the refs talk about it.
Yeah, you can see the Royal players arguing that he was pushed off.
Mutual goal.
And it will be a goal. So that was just a slip and fall, and I agree with the referees there.
I think
That's
they
a
were
good,
pushing
clean
and
strike
shoving
cut.
on both sides, so I don't think necessarily would go towards one or the other team in that call.
And just lost footing on the wet ground. And there may have been contact, but certainly not an intentional contact that would warrant a foul call. So Philadelphia back in front, 23-22 with 3 minutes to go. So Philadelphia getting set to pull here. Pressure on Montreal now to tie it up. Soft defense up front from the Phoenix. And to slow down any pull plays. Quinlan. Godet to the middle of the field, finds Bonneau. And flipped out to Daigle. Godet holding, back to Daigle. Just a handler weave right now for the Royal. And a bump on the mark.
Contact against Philadelphia.
10 yards.
Montreal up 10, stall 1.
And another whistle here, and overwalked the 10 yards there. So Godet will check it in here. Looking for the reset. Zhu, nice defense. But they do get it off clean to Genet. And a layout D from Marquez Brownlee, but a whistle. And it will be a 10-yard penalty for contact going against Brownlee.
You can see Brownlee was not arguing it there. He agreed with the call.
Hammer to the end zone. Layout catch for the score.
That was a great grab. Wow. As I said before, it's always tough to catch those layout hammers. The crowd is going wild. They're really putting on a show right now for us here. Here we go. Félix Antoine Zeg swings it around to Antoine Genet, and his hammer throw, full extension layout for the grab.
Cantambono with the score to tie it up 23-23 with under 2 minutes to go in the game. Exciting one here. And the pull is up. And you never know, this could be the final possession. Can Philadelphia get a win and break this interminable losing streak? The crowd behind the Royal. Spivo swings to Nelson. Spiva looking, Stahl getting high, but he gets rid of it to Arcata. Arcata floats one out to Katzenbach. Great job by Katzenbach to body out the defender. Double team. Katzenbach calmly takes the reset. Under a minute to go. Inside pass, dangerous. Cutter nearly lost his footing. Nelson strikes underneath. Into the red zone goes Philadelphia. Spiva holding. Backhand break. Klimkowski dishes back. Spiva looking. Time ticking down. Less than 30 seconds to go. Inside pass. Tipped and dropped by Nelson. He's looking for a call, and there's no call coming. The Montreal player came down on top of him, and now maybe they're going to discuss.
I think the refs are going to do a review. That's a tough call. I mean, he definitely did not have possession of the disc at that time. He was on the ground. The disc was bouncing in the air somewhere, and the defender came down on top of him.
And we're waiting on word from the referees here.
Please reset the clock to 19 seconds.
And they're gonna reset. They're gonna add 5 seconds to the clock here.
It looks like the Philly player is going to take a
injury
timeout.
An injury substitution.
Timeout, Montreal.
And Montreal will take their final timeout. But it is going to be Royal disc here with 19 seconds on the clock.
It's exciting.
It's exciting. And the crowd buzzing here.
Do you think that Philly were using the strategy of make a lot of passes close to the end zone there? It looked like they were just, I mean, I don't want to say milking it, but they were trying to like run down the clock by making a bunch of passes right in front of the end zone instead of just making that good score.
It's really, I thought the same thing, and it's really hard to say without being down on the field whether there were open options that were looked off, but I can't imagine they were trying to intentionally burn time. It's just you have to take the score when you get it, and they tried to jam it in on a tough throw. Now, to be fair, Nelson had every chance to make that catch.
He did.
And
he just
bobbled it.
He just bobbled it, and sometimes that happens. You just don't want to happen in the last 19 seconds of a game.
No, you
when
certainly
the score
do
is
not.
tied, 23-23.
So the teams huddle up. The sun is out. The game is tied. And there's a lot on the line for both teams. Montreal will take over possession here. It does look like maybe Daigle heading to pick up the disc.
If you're Montreal, is your goal to score in 19 seconds? Or is your goal to hold out until you get to OT?
Well, what do you think? I mean, I think you got to go for it.
I say you got to go for it.
You don't want to turn it over in this end. So you don't want to be risky, but they're out of timeouts. So they can't rely on taking the timeout as the disc gets checked back into play. Fake to Huck.
Ooh,
underneath
nice
pass,
tip.
Dangerous. Quinlan briefly
8 seconds
doubles.
left.
Pass to the sideline. Oh, nearly out of bounds, but it is caught by
3
Dandurand. Time running down. Can they get the Huck off? It's blocked, and we are headed to overtime here in Montreal. Wow.
2 games they've played, and twice we've gone into OT.
Very exciting. We're going to take a quick break, give everybody a chance to take a deep breath. Wow. 23-23, we're headed to overtime here. We'll be back in just a couple moments with the overtime period. You're watching ALD Extra.
So this piece with Eric is amazing to me. It's right in line with what we think is critical for kids, and that is to know their bodies.
The kids have really gotten into having speakers here that aren't just their teachers.
And I think the clinicians did a fantastic job. All the kids were engaged, none of them were distracted. They seemed to get into it right away.
I just want to reach out to Eric and tell him, thank you for coming and sharing the message that our kids can speak up. Early recognition is critical, and I look forward to doing more things with Eric in the future.
It's been great for us as a staff and for our students to experience the message you guys have, and highly recommend it for any school that has the opportunity.
Welcome back to Claude Robillard Stadium in Montreal. We're headed to overtime here as the Royal and the Phoenix are locked at 23. And we've got just under 30 seconds to go until we begin the overtime period. So quickly, the overtime rules. 5 minutes on the clock, same rules as regulation. Each team has 1 timeout, so they play this period out. If we go to double overtime, it is sudden death in double overtime. No timeouts. So first things first, we have 5 minutes on the clock, and we play normal rules. And Philadelphia won the toss, so they will receive to begin this overtime period.
It's always tricky to decide what you're going to choose. Are you going to choose to receive, so you might win this, but then you're going to be pulling in the double OT sudden death?
It's very true. Do you want to try to play for the double OT situation? A lot of teams, well, people have different thoughts on what to do. We're underway here in overtime. Phoenix on offense. Hone catches the under. Been a big piece for them today. Arcata dishes to Hone. Reset to Spiva. Hone again. There's a whistle.
Philadelphia up 10.
Contact called against the Royal. 10 yards in favor of the Phoenix.
Contact.
Another whistle.
Up 10.
So bumping on the mark, not being allowed at all. Pretty tightly refereed game today. And a little dish to the end zone, and through the contact, Hone makes the catch. And Philly on the board first here in the overtime period, silencing the crowd and going up 24-23.
Yeah, that looked like pretty easy offense for Philly right there. I mean, Montreal was bumping a little bit, so Philly got 2 advantageous calls in their favor. Right, they got 2 10-yard gainers. Here we can see on the side, and a little flip to the end zone. Looked like a lefty backhand. Easy pass.
Indeed.
For the score.
Spiva using the lefty backhand, which has become really almost a required throw in Elite Ultimate at this point.
Well, speaking as a lefty, I know it's served me well through the years as a handler, and it's great to see that so many of the younger players coming up these days have that in their arsenal.
Do you have a righty backhand?
Are you kidding me? There's no need for that.
Royal offense back to work. Quinlan. Needing a reset. Does get it off and finds Daigle. They work it carefully to the far sideline for Rick. And an amazing layout catch, saving possession from Godet. And that could prove to be a big play in this game as a shot goes up the sideline and it's caught by Bonneau, and he dishes into the end zone for the Montreal score.
That was an amazing catch by Miguel that set that all off. Maybe potentially a game-saving catch right there. And there was that easy pass to, let's see in the replay here. Yeah, nice throw upfield, lead pass, wide open, Quinton, and to go there for the score. And the spike.
And the spike. 24-24. 3:21 to go here in overtime.
The interesting thing about Miguel is he's very young. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of, experience playing at this level, and yet he dominates on the field. He looks like he's very comfortable, makes a lot of big plays. It's great to see young players like that be able to stand out.
This pole will roll past everyone and stay inbounds. So the Royal now end up in a good defensive position, and the Phoenix having to work out of their own end zone. Nothing but reset so far for the Phoenix. Spiva finds Katzenbach, who's just been a great release valve all game long for the Phoenix.
And I think one of Montreal's goals is to play straight up for at least one or two stalls to take away that huge hawk opportunity. They're doing it well here.
Sean Mott gets it on the near side. And a whistle.
Contact by a Philadelphia player away from the disc. Thrower, back 10.
So 10-yard penalty against the Phoenix. Time is continuing to tick off the clock here. Hone underneath. Quick double. To the sideline. Mott. Under Arcata. And a hammer totally open and dropped in for the score.
Completely uncovered cutter.
Arcata just got loose and Spiva found him.
I would wonder in that situation if the Royal maybe had a miscommunication on a switch. And they generally don't leave someone so open. Let's see if we can see what happened here. Huge hammer. Easy score into the end zone. Hard to say what happened on the defensive side, but Montreal can't let that go if they want to win this game.
Well, let's watch the other angle here. Maybe able to get a look at how that happened. And
yeah,
called for a switch.
Called for a switch, but it didn't happen.
Never got it. Phoenix set to pull up one. Less than 2 minutes to go. Montreal needing a hold to tie it back up. Montreal led most of the game after opening with a quick couple of breaks. They're up at 3 at multiple points in the game. Philly chipped away, got a layout Callahan, tied things up, went ahead, and now they're up 1 here in overtime. It's Godet swings at a big bid on the far side from Esser. He has been very close on a couple, but hasn't gotten one of those. Is now Montreal to the end zone, dropped in for the score.
That was great. Excellent setup by Kev Quinlan. He was in the midfield. He saw the receiver catch it on the sideline and just took off for the score. We can see here in the replay. Dish to the sideline, looks upfield, boom, puts up a big flick huck to wide open Kev Quinlan.
Very exciting stuff. 25-25. Less than 90 seconds to go. Philly offense with a chance perhaps to win it on this possession.
So here's a question. You want to be called out on the line on defense when you're tied and you got 1 minute and 22 seconds left to go?
You gotta, if you're a defensive player, you live for this situation.
That's right.
Spiva to Hone. Arcata cutting deep. Not there. To the reset for Spiva. Arcata. Back into the hands of Spiva. Less than a minute to go. Spiva floating one to Arcata. Defender never saw it. And an opportunistic throw there from Spiva. 40 seconds to go here in overtime. Arcata holding. Fakes the hammer. Not there. Finds Katzenbach. Katzenbach, backhand, end zone score. Philadelphia goes up 26-25.
30 seconds left on the clock.
Hone with the goal. And the crowd in disbelief. But still time for the Royal to score.
The Royal still has an opportunity to score. Here we can see the replay. Nice dish to the middle. Quick release. Open scoring man. That's tough for Montreal. I mean, it's tough to get a D in the best of times. But that opportunity is really when you want to be getting a defensive score. Let's see if they can score within the next 30 seconds.
So Montreal looking to force double overtime at this point. Great pull from Philadelphia. Genet. Back to Daigle. Again, Genet. He's got a deep cutter. He steps into a big backhand. It's trailing towards the far cone and is not going to be able to get there.
Catch up to that throw.
And the clock is running out here. Montreal just really has no options. They double team, but there's nothing that Philadelphia needs to do but hold on to the disc. And this game will come to an end. And it's Philadelphia breaking the losing streak with a 26-25 win over the Montreal Royal. And now there's some kind of discussion. I don't know.
I swear the ref just said timeout called.
Please reset the clock to 2 seconds.
So the timeout was called. By Philadelphia for no discernible reason. Because there is no need to...
They're on offense. There's 2 seconds left.
But maybe some uncertainty about what a turnover might mean.
Or maybe they were worried the stall count was getting too high.
Either way, we will wait for this timeout. And the players will retake their position in a double team for Montreal, of course. But with 2 seconds left, all he's got to do is get rid of the disc. And it's dropped.
Delay of game called against Philadelphia for throwing. Whistle 10. Reset the clock to 2. Clock starts on the release of the throw.
And so a delay of game called against Philadelphia, so 10-yard penalty. Big hammer goes up. Clock expires. And that will do it. So a little bit of an odd finish here. But in the end, there was no doubt. Philadelphia defeats Montreal 26-25 here on the road in the second game of a back-to-back, breaking a huge losing streak and getting on the board here in the win column for their 2017 season. They move to 1-4 as Montreal moves to 2-3.
Can you imagine what it's going to be like on the bus going home for Philly? They haven't won in 18 games, and they're going to be so excited.
I think they're going to get the champagne out. I mean, it's been a long road back for Philadelphia, and they also get revenge over a Montreal team that beat them in double overtime in Philadelphia in the Philly home opener. So the players high five And that's a brutal loss
That's
for
a
Montreal.
brutal loss for Montreal. They are not going to be happy about that. I mean, leading most of the game, up at by three at a few points during the game. That's going to be a tough pill to swallow, considering that moves them way further out of contention for making it into the elimination games.
That's right. Playoffs are going to be difficult to get into in the East, no matter which team you are. But now, with a loss to Philly, Montreal goes below 500, and they have a long road back if they want to make the playoffs. Well, that's going to do it here from Montreal. The Philadelphia Phoenix defeat the Montreal Royal 26-25. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the broadcast today. For Allison Fisher, our video team, and the rest of us at UltiWorld, I'm Charlie Eisenhood, signing off from ADL Extra. Thanks very much. We'll see you back on the field in June. Our next game in Washington, D.C. against the Toronto Rush, D.C. Breeze. That should be a good one. Hope you'll join us then. See you next time here on AOD Extra.